Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back, and now for our technical experts, Ashwani Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Gaba join us. Good morning to all three of you gentlemen. Well, Ashwani, let me start with you. There are a few things going for some of the heavyweights. We saw that big finance sector, corporate-facing finance sector move yesterday. And then now we have ITC, perhaps that will give it company. And of course, Reliance results ahead of the day. Are the bulls likely to retain the advantage?
Good morning. And I think the corporate lenders are the ones which are most heartening. Reliance has already rallied.
Okay.
And ITC, you know, one day it'll feel good and next day it'll become choppy. But in case we have these, you know, ICICI Bank, State Bank, Axis moving 3 to 4% on a few days, then, you know, the Nifty will find it easier to break out. If it wasn't for the finance sector yesterday, you would not have closed above this 11,170 zone. So my sense is that if we get more confirmation from ICICI Bank, I think corporate lenders could be in for a nice 25-30% rally. So that group will then give some leadership. So things which are underowned, hated, if one of those groups can come in and show leadership now, it will help Nifty get to 11,400, 500. So the sense is any sort of decline you get on Bank Nifty, and it's possible because we closed at the highs yesterday, any, you know, 50, 70, 80 point dip should allow you to get into the Bank Nifty. Similarly, any 25, 30 point dip on the Nifty, that should allow you to get into the Nifty. But overall, things look a bit more positive than they were in the last 2 days when we hit 11,170.
Okay, but you know, ICICI numbers are going to come after market hours, and so will BOB. Any confirmation that the Canara Bank trend is going to be carried out, is going to spread to other banks, will be known after market hours. So today, what will be the contours? Just by the dip, is it?
See, the point here is that everything is so smashed up that just somebody coming in and saying things are looking better is going to get into a short covering move, a strong rally. So that way, you know, the positioning is great to accept, you know, even marginal good news. Similarly, Yes Bank or Kotak, they are going down on even decent results. So that way, you know, corporate lenders are positioned to get good news. And, you know, news similar to Canara can easily be declared by ICICI or BOB also. So that way, I think there'll be some build up to, you know, whatever results are going to come even post the market. So that way, you know, this looks like momentum is back in all of those corporate lenders.
Okay, so looks like the momentum is back. Prakash, good morning. The moot point that Ashwani is trying to make is that the leadership could come from corporate lender, from, you know, the banks in general and some of these stocks in particular. Wanted your thoughts on how you should approach SBI in that context. It was the biggest gainer yesterday. And in general, on the index itself, what would the strategy be?
Well, good morning to you, Sonia. Basically, the structure is still positive. A still looks up. We saw a breakout and it's closer to high. What we saw yesterday in banks was more of a short squeeze out there. So if there is a small little dip out here, those are buying opportunities. Very strong support in the Nifty exists somewhere here or maybe 30, 40 points down here. 11,100, very strong support. If dips come, we are buying opportunities. Next week seems to be okay. Exactly same is the case with Bank Nifty. And I would say that Bank Nifty also has support around 100 points down from here. If you get a dip, those will be buying opportunities. Trade long here seems to be the way. As far as banks are concerned, State Bank of India is concerned, we have seen a good up move from the levels of around 255 zones. Went up. The technical target for the day, we said, was around 300 zones. I think it's going up there. It's already trading at 286. So there is a good move until around 300 zones. Can it go higher from there? Yes, it can go even to 320 zones, but that will take its own sweet time from a slightly higher time frame. But a dip in that would be a buying opportunities on State Bank of India.
Okay, that's on SBI and on the market. Mitesh Thakkar is also here with us. Mitesh, hi, good morning. On the index itself and on the Bank Nifty, what would the call be for the day?
Yeah. Good morning. So I think both the indices nearly met the targets which we are looking at. The Nifty hit 11,170, which is what the highest closing was on the daily charts, and also the all-time highs. And the Bank Nifty also hit 27,450, 500 zones. But the intraday chart structure is quite positive. So maybe, even if we get a day of consolidation or a pullback, I think the trend remains on the upside. I would now look at targets of around 11,250 to about 300 on the Nifty. And once the Bank Nifty crosses 27,500, I think there's a good chance that we might look at targets close to about 27,900 to about 28,000 on the upside. So stay long. I think in case there are any dips, I think add to your long positions and possibly look at PSU banks, which in the short term could slightly perform better than the rest of the bank.
Okay. But yeah, it's heartening. Now the range is 11,250. That's a tall number. Well, Ashwini, now to come to stocks. PSU banks is what Mitesh said, and I think you believe in that theory too.
Well, the only reason more PSU banks are not in my list because I recommended 8-10 of them yesterday.
Okay.
So MGL meanwhile seems to have created some sort of bottom. It's been up 4 days. Often something is in a downtrend, it goes up 4 days, tends to mean that the trend may have reversed, consecutive that is. So that is a buy with a stop of 890, target of 925. SBI has crossed its 200-day moving average with in a convincing fashion. So that's a buy with a stop of 282, target of 298. BOI is a buy with a stop of 93, target of 100. Now the gains will be in these smaller guys. SBI can go up 2%, 1.5%. These BOIs and unions and all of these guys will give you that 7, 8, 10% type returns in a single session, because yesterday if you see, earlier it was only Canara, State Bank and BOB. By the end of the day, these guys also picked up. So that's where the bigger gains may be there. BOI is a buy with a stop of 93, target of 100. Bata is a buy with a stop of 900, target of 950. And Edelweiss is a buy with a stop of 298, target of 314. I think this can also be included as a good PSU banks because they have the ARC which keeps buying the assets.
Okay, well, Mitesh...
I don't think they'll find that flattering though.
Okay, Mitesh, what about you? What stocks would you be looking at today?
Yeah, so I have mostly buy calls, barring one sell call. Allahabad Bank is a fresh entry on the PSU banks. We had calls on Union Bank, State Bank yesterday. Allahabad Bank is a buy with a stop at 43 for targets of 47. A buy on Page Industries where the intraday charts are quite positive. So buy with a stop below 28,500, look for a target of around 29,400. A buy on Torrent Pharma where the moving averages are expanding very nicely and positively. So I would now suggest a buy with a stop at 1474 for targets of 1540. And a buy on Ujjivan, which is a conditional buy. I would want to see the price get past 394 pivot. And once that happens, this one can be bought with a stop at 386 for targets of 410. And my solitary sell call is in Mindtree. The indicator setup is quite negative and weak over here. So sell if it breaks the pivot of 945 and keep a stop at 960. Look for targets of 910.
Fair point. Someone else has Allahabad Bank?
Yes, I
Prakash.
Allahabad Bank. Because I like the higher time frame on Allahabad Bank. Looks like a good base formation. Give it space. I think it can go beyond the target of 48 that I have. Stop below 44. I think it's going much higher. I like Balkrishna Industries as well. Sonia was mentioning about the tire stocks. Yes, certainly Balkrishna is looking good. Higher time frame looks very good. I think it can climb to levels closer to 1260 to even 1300 zones in the days to come. Stop below 1200. Granules, the stock I like. Good base formation. Up move started. Continuing his up move. Technical targets on the upside in the vicinity of 105 zones. Stop below 95. And from the financials, Manap Finance. Good base formation. It should go up from here. Target on the upside 107 to 110. May take its time. Stop below 102.
Okay, gentlemen, we have lots more questions for you, but Mr. Erez Israeli of Dr. Reddy's is waiting by, so let's quickly get to him. Remember, yesterday, post-market, Dr. Reddy's announced a fairly good Q1 performance led by sales and a Suboxone generic. In the US, also India business did very well on a low base. And so over to Mr. Israeli. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. First, could you take us through the nuances of the numbers this quarter?
We had a decent quarter. I believe that it's a step in the right direction. We grew nicely in most of the regions, and most on the bottom line than on the top line, primarily to focus on execution in the markets, plus focus on efficiency and activities in every place of the organization. And we also successfully launched few important products. And overall, we are pleased with the results that we have.
Okay, well, good morning. You know, the US markets seem to have bounced back, but that, as we know, is led primarily by Suboxone. Can you tell us exactly how much did Suboxone contribute in this quarter, and what did the base business look like?
We are not disclosing the Suboxone number per se, from obvious reason, as we are in litigation. But overall, the United States continue to impacted by the price pressure. So the price pressure continue when you are analyzing year over year. Compensate by launches, not just of Suboxone, but also other products. Suboxone, we happened to launch it for a short period of time during June until the TRO came.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that price pressure that you're speaking about. What's the outlook going forward in the US?
We are looking to slowing down of the price pressure over time. We are not, again, disclosing price pressure or price percentage itself, but it's absolutely continue to impact us. Having said that, there are other opportunities beside launch of new products, and this is the reaction of other companies for this price pressure, and there are opportunities in the United States also on the base business.
Okay. The India business, as you've also mentioned, has bounced back post the GST transition. I wanted to understand what kind of growth rates are feasible from India over the next few quarters.
So we do expect to grow in India. We are in a double-digit growth situation, and we believe that this will continue. India is a very important market for us as a company, and we want to invest in India, and we want to continue to grow double-digit in India.
Oh, to grow double-digit. Fine. Let me come to margins, actually. They've improved to over 20%. Can you tell us what was the base business margins and what's the expectation for FY19?
As you know, we are not giving guidance for the year, especially as the US market is fluctuating and is depending on hearing or results of court cases or timing of launches of products. So overall, we are cautiously optimistic, and long term, I'm more than that. I think we are optimistic about that, and there are opportunities to grow in the United States as well as all the other markets.
There are reports indicating that the company has cut staff across all locations. Is that true?
We took certain measurements to improve efficiency. This measurement did not start yesterday and will not end up tomorrow. We are in the generic industry. We are reacting to competition. We are reacting to prices decrease. We are doing something that any normal generic company is doing, nothing special. We took certain calls with certain position, especially senior position, on the in terms of organization design, and we will continue to focus on efficiency and to control our cost also going forward.
Okay, so we'll not hear the last of it. That means there's going to be further retrenchment?
We will always see a measurement on efficiency. It will be ongoing basis. This is the nature of the industry. I don't see something that is special that we are doing in that respect versus what other companies are doing or what even this company used to do in the past when we had to take efficiency measurements.
Some of your limited competition drugs have been delayed, for example, Copaxone and Nuvaring. What is the timeline for these possible launches?
We are aiming to address the queries of the agency for these two products. Naturally, both of them are complex projects, so it's hard to predict when exactly we will receive the approvals. But we are optimistic about both of them, that we are going to launch them either early or later next year.
Okay, and finally, your guidance on the Duvada and Srikakulam facility. What is the update with respect to the US FDA stance? Yes.
On the FT079, we finish our internal activity and invited the FDA to come. So we are waiting an inspection, hopefully in the next few months. Also, most of the information the API was giving as well. And I believe that most of those issues will be over with a few months' time.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us, and all the best for the quarters to come. The operational metrics definitely have improved, but remember, everything hinges on Subuxone and what happens.
So very good positives. He thinks the pricing pressure will be lower in the US, and as well in India, double-digit growth is what they're. So some positives.
Okay, let's see how that shapes up, because this is not a stock that has delivered at least over the last 2 years. So let's see what happens henceforth. In fact, we'll ask our fundamental guest. On the other side, we'll also talk about the central government is considering an increase in import duty for specific commodities. So more details on that coming up.
Well, we have to reiterate an important fundamental news that came in from Delhi yesterday about import duties. But before we get there, some derivative cues from Chandan Taparia of Motilal Oswal Securities. Good morning, Chandan. What are the stocks you're trading today?
Yeah, very good morning. First, talking about the Nifty, it rallied by around 5.5% in the July series, and it surpassed the previous lifetime of 11,171 and made a new lifetime high of 11,185. Volatility index is near to 12. Put call ratio is continuously moving up. Supports of the put writing are even shifting into the August series, which indicates that momentum could continue towards 11,250, the 11,400 kind of level, and selective heavyweights and a couple of good outperformance stocks are likely to outperform even in the August series as well. Talking about the specific name, we have seen a better rollover in Nifty also, 74 to 75% rollover in the Nifty, 78% rollover in the Bank Nifty, market-wide rollover is 90%. So again, the activity or buying attraction or the long attraction is started to witness in the market. Talking about the trading ideas, first it is buy on Marico. This stock has seen the open interest addition of around 22% in the entire series. We have seen jump of around 8 to 9%, and the stock has seen rollover activity of more than 92%, which indicates that most of the longs which you have seen in the last series are rolling to the current series, which can continue its momentum. That's why recommending to go long on Marico with a stop loss of 354 and expecting it to give the breakout and head towards 385 kind of level. Second trade is buy on GAIL India. This stock has seen the addition of around 3% more short covering was seen. The stock has jumped by around 15 to 60% led by short covering activity. Put writing activity is visible in the immediate strike in the next series. We have seen rollover of 77%, which clearly indicates that short covering could play into the counter. So recommending to go long because of its price pattern and the momentum activities with stop loss of 362 and expecting GAIL to move towards 386 level. Third trade, that is on SDFC Limited. The stock has been making higher top higher bottom formation, moving in a rising channel. It is decisively holding above its crucial hurdle of 2000 zone. Previous swing high of 1986 is now likely to act as a major support. So positive momentum could play towards 2075 to 2100 level. So one can even go long or can go with bull call spread to play the positive to range bound move of the stock. One can buy 2020 call, sell 2080 call. In the entire spread, one has to pay the premium of 26 points, keep the spread stop loss of 13 rupees, keep the spread target of 50 rupees, so almost 1:1.75 risk-reward ratio. And overall, we are expecting SDFC Limited to respect its support of 1985 to 1990 and may head towards 2075 to 2100 level.
Okay, Chandan, have a good day. We'll come back to you later. Those are some strategies from Motilal Oswal. We also have Sandeep Shenoy, who joins in to analyze all the numbers and all the big news flow that's trickled in over the past many days. Sandeep, hi, good morning. Before that, I want you to also listen into some news that we got. The central government is actually considering an increase in import duty for some specific commodities. This, as a senior government official says, that the domestic industry needs to be protected from the onslaught of cheap foreign goods. As well, well as to balance the cut in the GST rates that we've seen. All indications are that this notification could come very soon. So let's hear out S. Ramesh, the chairman of the CBIC.
There is a lot of speculation that the government will be looking at increasing the import duties on a lot of items which have come down from the 28% to the 18% bracket. We also understand that some proposal may have come through from the Commerce Ministry. Can you give us some sense of clarity? Because there has just been one round of rate cuts, but we also need protection of the domestic industry.
I think domestic industry needs protection. There's no second thought about it. So we're looking into all the proposals which are there, and you will come to know at the right time. There's no doubt about it.
So just one more supplementary on this. Won't this affect the pass-on benefit of the rate cuts?
All those factors will be looked into when suitable import duty is imposed.
Okay, import duties on a couple of spaces, you know, like batteries, etc., tires. I think some of this really is the need of the hour. Sandeep Shenoy is with us. Sandeep, hi, good morning. Your thoughts on this and any companies that you would be interested in?
Well, Sonia, I think there are two pools of companies. One is the competing companies with the products, and second is the consumer companies. I think if you look from the market cap perspective, I think the consumer companies are a far larger pool of market cap. So one will have to really move out from the large cap, who are probably consumers of these imported products, and look on to the producers, which are generally the appetite for the second-rung companies right now is not too hot. So yes, there could be some kind of a spike up there, but is it going to be a sustained trade in those companies right now? I don't think so. You know, you could see it in some of the engineering products or maybe some of the chemical products. I think chemical products was right around the corner, and some of the inputs for the pharma companies. But then one has to be also mindful of the fact, yes, government is trying to do a good job by trying to balance out the GST reduction. But I think the target could be China, because generally the largest of the imports come from that region. There also, I think we are seeing some kind of escalation on realizations or prices. So I guess it's not going to be that easy. And is there going to be any easy trade? I don't think so.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, inputs will become expensive if import duties are raised. So while there's some protection, there's also some rise in input costs. Point taken. In any case, we are now waiting to see what will be the goods that will be impacted. But Sandeep, no such doubts about earnings. To start with ITC, you think it's better than you thought?
Well, I think these are all companies which are emerging, you know, like the quote-unquote emerging from a long dark phase and light at the end of the tunnel. I think many of them had competitive pressures and also what we call as overhangs because of some of the other regulatory aspect. Could be duties, could be other factors. But I guess the gist is that some of the well-run companies have managed to tide over this challenging phase. We had IT tiding over the challenging phase, the pharma tiding, and now some of the FMCGs are also tiding over their challenging phases quite commendably. And I think the premium positioning of them will slowly and steadily return. Some of them had got a trashing on their valuation metrics, but I guess it's a time now for them to slowly and steadily reclaim their premium valuation metrics.
Actually, what appears to have tided over is Canada Bank, and now the market is extrapolating that to the other corporate lenders. That very important question to you, but after this important break, we have to take it before 9 a.m. and we are coming back with both the pre-opening rates as well.